name is Jamil A.C. Mangan. I'm originally from Newark, New Jersey, and I am the director, proud to be the director for Next Act's production of Pipeline. I've been directing for about off and on for 10 years because I'm also an actor. So it's always balancing when I'm able to direct with actually performing myself on stage. But I always feel like directing and then writing and doing a combination of all three is the next elevation in my artistic path and journey. And so, yeah, I'm so excited to be here in Milwaukee and working on this wonderful play written by Dominique Maruso, who is, a pretty good friend of mine. Yeah, so it's awesome. Mm-hmm. I am most proud of all of my projects, but I will tell you, the first play that I directed, I was so nervous. I was so scared. I reached out to this theater company at the time called African Globe Theater Works, and they were based out of Newark Symphony Hall. And I had gotten a position as the associate artistic director, right? That was sort of thrusted upon me at like 25, right? And so, but I said, okay, I'll take this position, but I want to direct one of the plays in the season. They gave me a play I had never heard of called Gospel at Colonus. And I was like, what? And it is for those that don't know, it is a gospel version of Oedipus at Colonus. And so, and it had music. I knew nothing about doing a musical, let alone it was my first show to direct. But then they gave me the soundtrack, and I just fell in love with the music. I fell in love, and once I fell in love with the music, I said, I have to do this show. Yeah, so that's one of my proudest moments, although I just love every unique opportunity and challenge that comes with every show that I direct. To become successful, you have to make a lot of sacrifices, and especially if the arts is something that one wants to do, because not all the time you'll be making money, and sometimes you'll be doing things for free as you climb and you learn experience in the arts. And so I had to sacrifice, being able to take vacations when my other friends who had, corporate jobs or whatever the case may be. It took me a while to, I just recently was able to purchase my first home with my wife, and so we're so excited about that. And if it hadn't been, all of the relationships and the networking that I've been able to do throughout my career to then get me to that level, I don't think all of those things would have been possible. But at the same token, anything worth wanting is worth, it's going to come with sacrifices, and it's going to take time. And if we plant the seed, and if you plant the seed early, you can see the fruits of your labor, and then you just look back and say, wow, all of those sacrifices were worth it. I'm going to tell you two directors in particular that inspire me. One is Robert O'Hara, and he's also now a playwright as well. What I like about Robert is that he is not afraid to take chances. He really finds way to put his artistic stamp and pushes the envelope when it comes to his art. And if he was to do, which he has done, a revival, it's not going to be your grandmother's revival. It is going to be, the revival for today that speaks to the people in the moment, in the community, in the current political or social climate. And then Marjorie Moon. Marjorie Moon was another woman that was the artistic director in a theater called the Billie Holiday in Brooklyn. A lot of actors came out of the Billie Holiday, like Sam Jackson, his wife Tanya Richardson, Denzel's wife. Can't think of her name right now, but a lot of people, even Denzel performed there, Denzel Washington. When I got there, they were, already in Hollywood and much more successful. And I did a production with her, and she really, for me, instilled an appreciation for the process and patience for the process. I mean, I remember times, as a young actor, I wanted to come in with off book and I was ready to go and I was fiery. And then, I'm like calling line while I'm still trying to learn my blocking. And she would say, no, pick up your script. Where's your pencil to write your blocking down? And she made us have our book in hand for 2 weeks. And I will tell you this, by the end of those 2 weeks, I had my lines down. And that she really told me to take my time and that it is a process and that we're not shooting for opening night on the 3rd day of rehearsal. The worst experience I had with an actor was an actor that's not willing to take direction or at least try. I'm a believer that this is a collaborative experience. But as the director that has the vision, I want to see the vision. And then if it doesn't work for the actor, I am open to say, okay, well, let's try it now your way, but give me the opportunity to see what I had envisioned first. I'm still learning how to deal with that, to really be honest, but I think the most important thing is to give yourself grace as the director. Give the actor grace to show diplomacy and tact and decorum and discernment because you don't want to create an environment that is unsafe, that is positive and a learning experience for all in the room. I can tell you specifically as an actor, right? It was one time I was doing a show called Ruined at the Philadelphia Theater Company, and it was time for me to come on out as the character. And they had this, the turtle, and the turtle is sort of this contraption that turns this portion of the stage around. And so on one side, you have a set, and then on the complete opposite side is a whole nother set. So in my scene, one side was the bar, and then the other side was the children's room, right? Or the bedroom in the back. And so I come out as the soldier, and I'm supposed to walk into the bar, but it was still on the side of the bedroom. And so I walk in, and I'm like, okay. And I had no idea what happened. And then all of a sudden I hear an announcement, and it's the stage manager saying, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we are having a technical difficulty. And I was like, okay, goodness, it's not me. I wasn't early for my entrance. Another time was back when I would do a lot of tours, and we did a children's. I remember as an actor, we did a children's tour, and it was and we traveled all around the country, and it was called Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. And so at that stage in my career, we were all like 8 in the van, traveling with a 6-foot trailer connected to the van. And so we would come in and put up our own sets and what have you in the flats. And so one time there's a heightened moment in the play. And I think the flat fell down. And so mind you, we only get a limited time to rehearse in this particular space. So every city is a new venue, a new space to get acclimated with. Well, anyway, the way this stage was built, it was all black and there were stairs leading down. And so the flat fell over, hid the hole in which to go down the stairs. I come running out in this heightened moment. My foot fell right through the flat, and and I came up with the flat still around my leg, and I'm like pulling it, still staying connected in the moment and what the scene required. But that is one that sticks in my mind all the time. I think my favorite I think my favorite aha moment in rehearsal is, as a director, when you see the light bulb go off on the actor, and they discover something new within the moment that the previous rehearsal wasn't there. You know, I think much of directing is not being a dictator, but I like to see myself as a guide. And that's how I approach education and teaching as well. It is not enough to give the student the answer, but when the student themselves come up with the answer, that has a longer lasting effect, because now they feel pride in their education and responsible for their own education. Read a lot of plays, see a lot of plays. And also I tell young people, live fully, because a lot of what I bring to the room is from my own life experiences, and the relationships that I've had, or situations and things that I have gone through that I can share, and the knowledge that I have for specific situations. Also, too, just don't limit yourself to the arts. Learn so much more. We all have a plethora of interest, and so I think all of that knowledge that might be outside of the arts, whether it's science, whether it's math, whether it's, an appreciation for psychology, can be utilized within the arts. And when you're trying to break down a script or a character, and understand fully the human psyche, so definitely just have a myriad of interest, because it will all prove valuable, as a budding director. To not take myself so seriously, to give myself grace and room to laugh at my mistakes, because mistakes are a part of the learning process, and once we embrace that, then I think we can, give ourselves grace again, and learn and grow, to be better, humans, better artists, better creatives, better collaborators. I think the major thing that in connection that I have with Pipeline is that I'm also an educator beyond an actor and director. I've been a teaching artist for over 20 something years. And a lot of the work that I have done, has been through teaching script analysis, acting, the basics of acting, and then also using what is called applied theater, and using theater within the school systems to engage the students a lot more, in their education, in which we have used these tools that I learned, and skills and tools that I learned in applied theater to lift ELA scores, help with math, history. We would come in and play characters from history, and then use inferencing and to have the students infer what could possibly happen, in the latter part of the story, by having us act them out. And so, I used all of those tools. And so I was in schools, urban schools, suburban schools, rural schools, schools with students of various colors and ethnic backgrounds and religions. And I learned a lot, and seeing the difference in schools, and then also the disparity, in urban schools, and the lack of quality education. And we all know that education is key to unlock so many doors. And also, too, I employ students that the education just doesn't start and end with school. It continues on after school, and reading books and learning to educate yourselves, and so I met Dominique Maruso as a teaching artist. We were teaching artists together, specifically at CUNY University, part of creative arts team, in which I learned these skills in the creative arts field and our applied theater specifically. And so I think a lot of what Dominique is writing is from our experiences as teaching artists in the public school system in New York. And it comes out, and I think she does a beautiful job in accurately painting the deterioration in our school system, but at the same time leaves hope and reminds us that it's the community. We have that saying, it takes a village, but it is the community. It's the parents, it's the teachers, it's the board, the administration. It is everybody coming together to make sure that no child is left behind, and that the saying that MLK, Martin Luther King saying, Dr. Martin Luther King, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So it may not affect one personally, but in some regard, we'll see the domino effect that it has and the scar that it will leave on our society if every student is not, regardless of color or creed or background, is fully educated. And I think it'll make us stronger, actually, as a society. Oh my goodness, is cereal a soup? I would have to say, and I'm sorry to those that believe it is, no. Cereal's not a soup because I think, one of the main components of soup, right? It is often a meat that is included in a fish, and it's warm and hot. And cereal's not hot. Now, see, here we go, right? Now we can play the slippery slope, because you can have warm cereal, right? Like farina and oatmeal might be considered a cereal. So, but I'm gonna have to say no. But I will tell you this. It's always cereal first. Not milk first, cereal first.